on the outside of it, sentiment takes over from what he's done last season, which is the impossible job for them winning the league. They're going down. They're going down quite fast, and it's obvious that it doesn't make no difference that he's won the Premier League. It's obvious to me that for the owners, it's to stay in the Premier League. I don't know if the players were responding to him anymore because they didn't seem to be. They don't seem to be playing for him to kind of to motivate those players to get out of the problems.
Was it the only decision they could make then at this point, do you think?
Well, unless Claudio did take them down and then they changed it all about and got new players in and he brought them back. But what more could you honestly ask them to do? As much as I'm sitting here absolutely gutted for him because I think that he deserved more, but I still believe that it comes down to the players' performances. They still should have performed a lot better than
So he loses his job because of the players' performances?
Well, the players are not going to get sacked. You sack the manager. The manager's the one who gets the sack. And unfortunately for Claudio, he's the one who's been sacked.
It's what always happens, isn't it, Jake? But my problem is that I think if Leicester had come 15th last year, then I think he'd probably still be in a job.
So he's lost his job because he's won the Premier League.
He's just set expectations that fans, that the chairman, that the owner, and in my opinion, this is what Leicester are. This is what they are. They are a team that are 15th, 16th, 17th in the league. We saw a total freak last year. The year before, they were right down there. All year, it was virtually impossible they were going to survive. This is what they are. These players have been playing championship football most of their careers. OK, Mahrez was a great signing. Vardy had the season of his life. But Kante has now gone. But in general, a lot of them are bottom of the Premiership area. That's their level.
Michael, with all due respect, I would disagree with that because for 18 months, if you think about the trouble they were in, they played like champions. And to suddenly go off a cliff like they have is really disappointing. I think when you win things, with one trophies, you have to remain hungry and you have to remain humble as an individual. There was talk of new contracts, brand new cars on the car park. I think these players have all been sidetracked. Not one of those players has played this season like they did last year. They've gone away from the basics. And the managers tried to... I mean, Ojoa recently wanted to go in the transfer window. He's appalling the way that he, like a kid in a sweet shop, couldn't get what he wanted. He started crying because he couldn't leave the club. They're only successful because of what Ranieri put together. This was almost like, if you conclude the manager like the Dirty Dozen, it was a group of players that had very difficult careers until that point. That was their moment together. Now, they're iconic figures, and they need a kick up the backside now. They've cost their manager the job, no doubt about it. So, I think that's a very difficult dressing room. Whoever goes in there needs to really sort that and apply and be in charge of that.
So you're saying that you think those players are sort of Championship or Champions League players?
Listen, you don't win a Premier League unless you deserve it. Let me tell you, there's no easy way.
You have to say,
of course they earned the Premier League.
They earned the Premier League.
It was an absolute freak of a year, and every other year Leicester are, down at the bottom of the table.
6 months before that, they were fantastic. They were back to the
walls. What I would say about them, one thing what is really disappointing about them as a club is that, like I said, that they earned the Premier League. They didn't buy it, they earned it. And once they've done that, I thought that the ambition of the club in respect of, OK, we've almost got a boost, we've gone to there now. So when we sign players, they've got to know how we play. This is how it is. Bolt them on so as they can continue to baby step and progress. Leicester should be in and around 8th, 6th, because they've progressed, they've proven mentally, on a mental side of things, they are strong enough to do it.
But you win a trophy, yeah? What do champions do? They put it in the closet
and they
forget about it. I don't even want to see it. It's very difficult for that group of players. It seems as when the Champions League comes around, oh, this is a big event. This will be something I could be famous for yet again. No, look after the bread and butter. If you don't, you end up in the bottom three.
Absolutely.
And it's gone disastrously wrong for them. They can turn this around, but they've got to pull together as a group. People have got to start performing now.
You're so unconvinced.
I don't disagree. I totally do. I just think they're not capable. They're not capable of being at the top.
They've shown they can be champions.
They must be because of what they've done last year. And we're not talking about loads of different players. One of the arguments is that he's stuck with the players what got him there. So they must be able to do it.
If any of those players had done it year on year on year, then I'd say absolutely. When's Vardy ever scored that many goals before? When's Mahrez came for a few $100,000? He wasn't like tearing it up in the.
But they did it though. That's the point.
They did it absolutely. They just had a freak of a season when they were out of every cup competition, and they were brilliant. I love them. I love them.
So it's all
no, not they deserved every bit of it, but. These players, I've played with half of them. They couldn't get in the Man United reserve team when I was there. And they go off into the Championship, and half of them couldn't. Albrighton couldn't get into Villa's team. You know,
I think we
there's
saw
so
in the Champions
many
League
examples.
game, the last Champions League game, we saw a flash of what's under the bonnet. Because listen, they might as well go home now if we're going to say they're not good enough. Someone's got to go in there and sort this situation out. You can't be champions one year and be relegated.
What are they good enough for? They're good enough to
be famous for that
stay
as
in the Premier League, but they're not good enough to be competing in the top six again.
Yeah, but well, you say that, but like last season, we were right up until the end. People were still saying they couldn't do it. They've proven that they found something and they were able to. What they've done, Mike, is that they've lost that feeling of what made them what they were. They've lost it.
Circumstances conspired against them. Everyone now sits back and lets them have the ball. Last year, they won the Premier League off almost 30% possession. And this year, they're having to have the ball. They haven't really developed. The manager hasn't worked with them on the training pitch, so I think they've been poorly prepared. It's the manager, it's the players. Maybe Ranieri should have gone at the end of last season if he'd have had a...
If he could have just won the league, why should he?
But maybe it was never going to be as good again. But it certainly shouldn't be as bad as it is now.
Absolutely,
and they can turn that around. But the players now, it's not now we can see now the manager's gone. You can't blame the manager anymore. Have they been blaming the manager? Has the owner been listening? There's been rumours that's been happening in that group. That group now has got to come together.
Actually, a message today from Jamie Vardy, because yes, there have been rumours that the players haven't tried a leg.
It's about time someone said something like that behind the boss.
And I haven't heard anyone say anything nice about Ranieri, to be fair.
It's about time someone said something.
Yeah, I haven't heard anyone.
Mahrez actually came out today and said, I owe this man everything, and tweeted a picture.
Well, there we are.
And this is now from Jamie Vardy. And he says, there is speculation I was involved in his dismissal. This is completely untrue, unfounded, and is extremely hurtful. The only thing we're guilty of as a team is underachieving, which we all acknowledge, both in the dressing room and publicly, and will do our best to rectify. I suppose as a Leicester fan, I'd look at that and say, why haven't you rectified that before now? It's almost the end of February. It feels to me like they haven't tried to leg those players. They've just been enjoying the trappings of.
Well, now we're seeing these kind of letters coming out and these posts and that, and you know, of course they should be doing it.
Did they care enough against Swansea when they lost 2-0?
Well, the thing is, you can write whatever you want, but it's the performances what's going to make people and Ranieri look at that and say, yeah, I believe everything he's saying in there. Ranieri's been the one who's spent all his time with him and Mahrez and see what they've done up to this point. So that could, for all we know, could be totally true. It could be totally false and hollow.
I think maybe a little bit that he played a 4-4-2 system. They changed to a back three. They then changed to a diamond. Ranieri became the Tinkerman once more, and that was a problem. And whether he had the total respect to those players in that dressing room, we will never really know. But it certainly hasn't worked for him this season.
If he goes and plays the same formation, they keep getting beat, then you say, well, you've got to change something. You've got to keep changing something. And then if he changes, he's the Tinkerman. Well, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, if that's the case.
Got to win games, and they just simply haven't been able to.
That's the key question now. Is a change of manager going to make a difference to that group of players? Or as Michael believes, they're simply not good enough and they are relegation fodder. They spent 80 million quid, don't forget, in the
summer. I don't think they're not good enough to be in the Premier. I think there's got some brilliant players there. But to think that they're going to be top 6 again this year, you're dreaming.
Yeah, he's lost his job, though, because they're looking like they're going down, Michael, not because they're not in the top 6.
Yeah, but Michael, I think...
If they were 11th, he probably wouldn't be going.
But Jake, at the start of this season, people were saying if Leicester come in 10th, that's fine. I was expecting them to come in and around that. I wasn't expecting them to be 6 or anything, Mike. But what I was expecting was progression, building on what you've done. And that's not winning the league again, because there's no way they were going to do that. But they've got to be a different mentality to that team, because they've proven that they're capable of doing it. And that's what I mean. So they get the money, like you mentioned, the cars, they get everything, and then they drop off.
But if we're realistic, we see a team every year, now not to the extent of Leicester, it was just a freak, it was unbelievable. And I loved the journey, we all did. But a lot of seasons, we had Southampton that were in the Champions League places a couple of seasons ago that were there all year, and you just think, wow, brilliant. And then they dropped it. Then Everton came 4th one year, and then they went to 16th the next year. It's only the top 6 that are consistently brilliant. If anyone ever thought that Leicester were going to consistently be brilliant after one season, then, well, I didn't put it that way.
I
But
think what it does prove is that when you're a top player, look, for instance, like Frank Lampard and players who you have every season, you start the season.
These are the top players, Righty. They do it every year.
When you see, Frank's got everything you can want in respect of material gains from the game of football, but that's not what drives him. And what Leicester players are showing at the moment is, for me, that's what drove them, the material gains of football, because you can't fall off like this.
And they took their eye off the ball, literally.